the argument for pro-life being sure.
What do you mean when you say a more complex set of propositions?
It just means that one theory postulates more independent variables or propositions to explain the data optimally.
Repeat that. I didn't hear you.
It just means that one theory just postulates more propositions or bits of information to explain the data.
Can you give like an example of that?
Yeah, so like if we have two theories, for example, theory A and theory B, let's say you have like theory A states that like it is always the case, right? And that X is the case or X is true, right? And you have theory B, which states that it is always the case that X would be true, with the exception of case Y, Z, and A scenario, right? That's an example of like two different theories being characterized distinctly by the amount of information that they postulate within the framework of that theory to explain the data, right? Which makes one more
Well,
parsimony.
what do you mean by parsimony? It's like easier to believe.
By parsimonies, it just mean the information simplicity of a theory, for example. So a theory is more parsimonious than another theory if that specific theory does not postulate the same amount of propositions, independent propositions to explain the data.
Is this like the actual definition of parsimony, or is this just the way you're using it?
That's the definition of parsimony, which is general. The conventional definition is talks about the simplicity of a theory. So a theory is more parsimonious if that theory is simpler than another theory. Now there are several different accounts of simplicity, but the account of simplicity that I'm going under is description length simplicity, right? So, which is utilized in Akaike information theory, which is proven to be probability based.
Well, I don't think that how that works for morality and specifically. Because when you're talking about morality, it like engaging with more trivial matters doesn't necessarily require it to be an issue or it to be like a reason to why you should not believe in it. So specifically for like how you value simplicity, like taking something with less like propositions into it, it doesn't really account for it when you have to like actually get into those propositions. So say for example, you posit pro-life and then pro-life, like it established some like objective morality to how you have to affirm it to be wrong in like every
No, it
single
is just going to
scenario.
be something which is more parsimonious and more likely whether or not more realism is true.
Oh, that's not like a response to my question. Or that's not a response to what
What
I
you're
said.
talking about, I
Me
just heard
saying
you
that.
mention objective morality. I'm just making it
Oh
clear
yeah,
that that
because I'm
specific
saying
part
this
of
is
your
one of the
argument or
propositions
response is
that it can
irrelevant to the
affirm.
conversation.
Oh no, it's not irrelevant because you're getting into the actual commitments that you're making when you're presenting this
No, we're not
proposition
getting
onto
into
the table.
meta-ethics, right? So meta-ethical reference are irrelevant.
Oh, I'm not trying to get into a meta ethics topics. I'm just naming one of the propositions you have to like uphold when
But you
you're
mentioned like
positing
objective
this.
morality. I take that to be something which is
Because
the
I'm
meta-ethical
okay,
process.
okay, because again, I'm naming one of the propositions you have to uphold when
That's not one of the
positing this
propositions.
position.
Nope.
So you don't have
You
to
think for
affirm that
someone
this
to
is
be a
wrong in every
pro-life
case.
proponent, they have to be more realist?
Oh no, I'm just saying that to what I understand, this is
Yeah,
what was the one thing that I've heard.
yeah, I'm making it clear to you right now that it is not one of the propositions of either theory.
Uh, okay, based on what? Like, what explanation do you have for that then?
Based on the fact that these theories are normative ethical theories, and what you're talking about is a meta-ethical proposition. Meta-ethical propositions is
I
not a
understand
part
that they can
of
tie into
normative.
each
Wait,
other.
hold on.
I
Well, I
believe
don't
like
think you understand. I don't think you understand, and that's the reason as to
okay,
why you asked me this question. So I'm going to finish my response to your question, right? So we both agree that meta-ethics and normative ethics are two completely distinct categories and domains, right? So if we're investigating the informative simplicity of a normative ethical theory, then obviously it's going to be the case that there's not going to be a meta proposition baked into the theoretical framework of a normative or
I
applied ethical theory.
are you so can I respond now?
Is that an agreement towards the claims I'm making?
You said what? Is that a pre-mint? What
Do
does
you
that
agree with
mean?
the claims you just made a while ago, or do you disagree
Oh no, I
that
disagree
meta-ethical
with that. I
propositions are not a
disagree.
part
I
of
think
this?
that they can tie into each other definitely. I think that
Saying that
specifically
they
like
can
things
tie
such
into
as
each other is trivial. It's not something which is a
I
part of
mean,
the theory
that's
itself.
fine.
Because whether or not pro-life is true is not going to be dependent on
Having
whether
them
more
being
realism is true or
distinctive
not.
theories, but then the ideas of the set theories actually tie into each other, that I have no
How
issue
is it
with.
the case that pro-life entails more realism? or anti-realism?
Oh, because you have to affirm that something is wrong in every case scenario.
Why do you have to affirm moral realism or anti-realism? Why do you have to make a meta-ethical statement for it to give a normative ethical statement?
Oh, that's just how it follows. If you say that
How does
you have
saying
to
that
affirm,
that's how it follows is
are
not
you
an
gonna let me?
argument
Are
for
you
why
gonna
it
let me
doesn't
finish? You
follow.
just asked me a question and you're not
You
letting
did
me
not even
respond.
explain. What are you talking about? Cut you off if you give us
I
the
didn't get a
argument.
chance to explain because you just cut me off.
You
So can
got
I
a
respond
chance
now?
to explain. He said one
No,
sentence, and
I
that
did
sentence
not
was a
get a chance
circular
to
reasoning.
explain. Yeah, I
Yes, you
didn't
did.
get a chance to explain.
Wait, how
Of
did that
course, you're gonna
disallow
think
you
it's
from speaking?
circular. Of course, you're gonna think it's circular when you don't let me respond. So I'm gonna respond now.
You literally
So when
gave a
you
response,
affirm
and your
pro,
response is
so you
simply
see
you
how he's
saying, "Of
cutting me
course
off
it
again?
follows."
Like, are you just like a rhetorical baboon? You don't know how to have a
Are you going
conversation?
to actually respond to my claim or question?
I'm trying to respond to the claim. You're not letting me respond. Thank
How
you.
am I disallowing you from responding? Just make the response right
So,
now.
because you keep interrupting me, you're not letting me have a
Me
valid
interrupting
conversation.
you because you're not giving the response is me preventing you from giving the
Oh,
response.
me interrupting you. I'm trying to respond right now. Are you gonna let me respond?
Okay, respond right now, Chim Chop.
Respond right now, Chincha. When you affirm pro-life, you're opposing abortion in every case scenario. When you're affirming
Yup,
something
no
that
shit,
has moral
Sherlock.
realism, you're affirming it to be the case in every scenario, or you're affirming like an
Yeah,
objectivity
that's a
to
moral
where morals that
universalist commitment, not a moral realist commitment. Moral universalism is compatible with interrealism. You're an idiot.
bro. More okay. What do you think moral realism is?
Moral realism is the view that there stands or mind-independent moral facts or properties that exist out there. You
Or
can be a
if
moral
it's more
realist and not be a universalist. You can be a moral realist and be a pro-choice, pro-colonialist.
moral
You're an
that there
idiot.
exists objective fact. Yes, you're objectively
Yeah,
holding
there
something to be true.
existing
That's what I
objective
mean when I say
facts
that.
is not something which entails moral universalism. You can be a moral particularist and believe that the objective facts are going to be contextualized and dependent on certain conditions, right?
And that's not what I believe to be a moral fact. The moral fact, or at least
I don't
something
care
that is
about what you
moral,
believe
is
the
to be
moral fact to
unchanging.
be. I'm telling you what it is actually defined as in the literature. You're an idiot.
Who defines it as that? Can you like give me like one case scenario where it's defined as
SCP,
that?
Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Moral realism is the view that there are objective moral facts or moral properties that exist. That's always defined.
Yes, and I'm saying you're affirming
Okay,
something
so
to
it is
be
the
objective.
case that I defined the term correctly. What are you talking about?
What? Bro, I wasn't talking about the term for a moral real. I'm not talking about the term for moral realism.
You're
I
literally
was talking
objecting
about
my
the. I
definition. You're
was
asking me,
talking
wait,
about
hold
the
on. So
term
what
for moral
definition were you objecting?
particularitism.
What definition were you objecting?
Yeah, I was giving the what's it called, the case for moral
That's
what's it
just
called,
the only
for
definition
moral
that you've given. And you
particularism.
said, what's the evidence that it is being defined
Gave
this way?
you
Who
didn't give the
defines it this way?
definition for what I asked for. What are you
I
talking
gave the
about?
definition of moral realism before you asked the question. You
I
literally
asked you
asked
for the
me,
more.
hold on,
I asked you
why
for
would
the
you ask me
definition
the
for moral
question, which is
particularism.
who defines it this way without knowing how I defined it to begin with? You're a retard.
You didn't.
Of
You
course, you read
didn't
my
respond to my
definition. That's why
question.
you questioned the definition, just to agree with the fucking
You didn't
definition.
respond to my question. My question was, who defines moral particularism that way? You didn't answer that question,
I didn't give a definition more particulars.
which is what I asked you to give. Which just shows me you're not
You
fucking
said who
tracking.
defines it this way, implying that you've heard the
Yes,
way in
in
which I define it,
response to the
and you're
last thing
asking me
you
for
said. What was the last thing you
justification
said, Apollo?
for there being some
Apollo,
sources which
hello. Are
defines
you
it in
awake?
the
What
same
was the
way.
last thing you
So
said?
clearly, you're not tracking the conversation.
It's obvious that you're not tracking. I asked you to define the last thing you said,
Repeating
and you
back
didn't
after me is
define
not
it.
going to make it look rhetorically powerful, by the way.
Rhetorically partial. You said
Powerful, dumb
rhetorical.
fuck.
Oh, it's just stupid ass accent. My fault.
Oh, it was a stupid ass accent, my fault. So this is a guy with a speech
So are
impediment.
you
It's
gonna address
crazy.
that when you're affirming pro-life that you're objectifying some form of like statement
You
in terms of
sound
moral?
lost in the conversation. Holy crap. So I'm going to help you out here, okay? It's pretty simple, right?
Okay,
So all I'm
I know you
saying
think I'm
here, all
lost.
I'm saying here
You're
is
not
that
like
given the
tracking
definition
what
I've
I'm
given for moral realism, pipe down, your dad is still speaking. Given the
saying.
definition of moral realism I've given in the conversation, that definition is compatible with both a particularist and a universalist position, which would be the commitments of a
If
pro-choice and
you're
pro-life positions, respectively. That's all I'm saying.
like it's so retarded. I said if you're affirming something or objectifying
Um,
something, if it
you
were
think
to
you saying
be
I'm
a moral
retarded is a
statement,
counter argument?
are you let me respond to my? Are you
You
gonna
sound
give the
so
counter argument?
defeated right now. It's so embarrassing.
I'm trying to give the counter argument, and every time I try to respond to your claims, you
Yeah,
just
give a
start cutting.
counter argument and not say, "Oh, you're so retarded." Give a counter argument,
I
dumb fuck.
said, "Oh, you're so retarded," and then I started giving my counter argument, and then you interrupted me.
Yeah, okay, so you agree that that statement was not a counter argument.
No, the counter argument was what was
Okay, so I
following.
allowed you to make that statement, which is not a counter argument. So I allowed you
I
to give a
mean,
counter argument, and
I can
instead
make
of you
any
giving the
statement I
counter
want. You
argument,
don't have to
you
like
proceeded
allow
to
me to do
call me
anything.
retarded. You're so
Yeah, I called you
retarded.
retarded because you didn't respond to me.
Okay,
I'm
so
giving
I
my counter
allowed you to give a counter argument, and you used the time to insult me. Just to be clear in
You
this.
think I'm not working on
You
your
think the cold
time?
laugh is going
Hello?
to make it look good at the conversation?
What are you even saying? I can't understand you. Are you gonna repeat it?
Of course you can't understand what I'm saying. You're retarded.
Yeah,
You're
I
dumb
can't
as
understand
shit.
what you're saying
You
because
don't
your stupid
understand
ass
anything I'm
accent.
saying.
Like Jamaica man, stop it.
You're literally
You're not
stumbling
trying to
over
hear
your
me
words. What are
say
you talking
anything.
about? You're stumbling more than me. How can you
I'm
talk about
not
someone's
stumbling at all.
accent when
You
you're
didn't you
much
didn't
better speaker
respond to
than me in the
anything I said so
conversation?
far.
You're retarded.
You haven't responded to anything I said so far. So anyways,
You
like I was
literally
saying,
heard my
right? When
definition
you
and
are
was objecting
so
my
how are you gonna
definition,
cut
but
me
for
off
some reason you
every
can't
time
understand
I
what I'm
try to give my
saying.
counter argument?
Oh,
You
it's so
complain about me not
convenient.
giving
It's
my
so
counter argument, and then you
convenient
cut me off
that
when I
the
try to
only
give my counter
times you
argument.
don't understand what I'm
You see
saying
how he's cutting
is
me
when you
off
don't have a
again?
powerful rhetorical comeback. It's
This is
so
not this is
convenient.
not goon type
It's
of
so
aggression. This
convenient.
is
But
just
every
ass.
other time you have a
He's trying to be
complete
goon so bad.
understanding
This
of what
nigga
I'm saying.
sucks. Are you going to let me give the counter argument, or are you just gonna keep cutting me off?
I'm allowing to give a counter argument, and instead you've been going on the
Okay, so then
ramblers
shut
thinking
your
that
mouth
you
and let
saying,
me
oh, you
speak.
have an
Shut
accent,
your mouth and let me speak.
or you're
Shut your
retarded, it's going
mouth
to be
and let me
rhetorically
speak.
powerful.
So you see how he's cutting me off
You
again? He's not
you
letting
have
me finish
got
the counter
blown
argument.
out on the rhetoric, so let's focus on the
You've
substance.
gotten blown out on the rhetoric, Apollo.
I
Nobody
didn't
thinks
say
you're
you got
convincing
blown
ever.
out on the rhetoric. You're not even tracking the
That's
conversation. And I'm
exactly
glad
what
this
you
is
said.
recorded too,
You're not
because when
gonna
I post this
gaslight
on
me.
the
That's
YouTube
exactly what you
channel,
said.
everyone's just gonna mock you for being
You
rhetorically
can.
inept and
I
intellectually
don't care to
inept and
post
also
this. If anybody
substantively
likes to
inept,
post
okay?
this, they can post this. But the
Sure, you
issue
can
is you're not
post this, you can
responding to
post
what I
this. Yeah,
say.
no
So
shit, Sherlock. Of
anything, if
course I
I
can post it.
oh
And didn't
my
need your
god,
input
he
on that
doesn't
either.
stop speaking. You don't stop speaking, do you? Okay, so let me
Stop
respond now.
stumbling, retard.
If
Give the
you're
response.
objectifying something, if it were to be a moral fact or like a moral statement,
A
or if
moral
for it to
fact.
be
Just say a moral fact.
universal,
Stop stuttering, retard.
I didn't stutter. I said moral fact or
You
moral
didn't
statement. That
stutter.
wasn't a stutter. That was not a stutter. Anyway, like I was saying, right?
Yes,
If
it
you're
was.
saying something, if you're objectifying a moral statement, this would correspond to like some form of universal, because you're saying that in every for case scenario, it would be this way.
He's so lost.
Saying I'm so lost is not an actual response, by the way.
I know it
Just so
is
you know.
not going to be something which proves my point. No shit, but you are lost in the
I mean, I
conversation.
don't think you have given anything to prove your point yet, like, which is very unfortunate.
This is so hilarious. Could you define to me how moral universalism is defined as?
I can give you just like the denotative.
I want your definition on spot right now. Don't search it out.
No, I'm
And by
giving
the way, I'm
you
going
the
to leave the
denotative.
VC in the next 10 seconds, maybe because my phone is going to die. So we're just going to keep on
Okay,
talking
so do
until you
you
just see
like
me leave the
do you
voicemail.
have like
So
anything?
what is your
No,
definition
no,
of
no.
moral universalism?
I have for you. Like, do you have like anything like actually important to say? Or
So me asking you for the definition of moral universalism, which is a used the
oh no, no, no.
terminology
I'm
in this
giving it to you.
discussion, is not something
I'm
which is
giving you
relevant
the
to the conversation,
denotative.
presumably.
Oh no, what you said wasn't relevant. I'm telling you what you said now is relevant. Like asking me for the definition, that's relevant because I'm about to give
You
it to you.
think me saying I'm going to leave the
Moral
VC soon is
universal.
not
Are you
relevant?
gonna let me? Are you gonna let me finish? Biggie.
I
So
allowed you to
moral
give a
universal.
definition, and you rambled
See,
on
so you
about
see how
something
he's cutting
else.
me off when I try to give the
You
definition.
see who's cutting me off? Who are you trying to appeal to?
I don't have to appeal to
Yeah, I'm
anybody. This is
genuinely
on
laughing, and your
recording. They're
fake
all
laugh
gonna
is to
see it
cover
in
the
the
fact that
recording.
you're getting embarrassed right now. It's like,
I'm not fake laughing, and nobody's
of course
embarrassing
you
me.
are.
You're not letting me respond. So moral
Respond to the
universalism is
question.
the idea
Mm-hmm.
that a single system applies to everyone, regardless of race, culture, nationality, religion, or color. It's a belief that
Mm-hmm.
a universal moral truth
Okay, stop
and
right
a
there.
single
Good boy.
pattern of
So you gave
action
the correct
is
definition.
considered
So
right
that
or good at
definition,
all. Are you
so
still
that
like you still
definition, all I
speaking?
wanted was that part, right? So you see, that view is not something which is in moral realism.
Are you not affirming that no matter the context of the situation, this thing would be true? Hello? I can give you a definition if you believe it to be. Uh, okay. Anyways, I'll just give another definition too. Is that an idea that some moral principles or values are applicable to everyone everywhere, regardless of culture, nationality, race, religion, or other circumstances? It's just like, oh, he's gone. For real. Should I just save this then?